In today's design challenge, we are going to design this layout here in Divi 5. Now, when you look at it, it may seem like a very simple and straightforward layout, but it involves a lot of design techniques in order for us to come up with this layout. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you step by step how to do this. Now, the beauty of this layout is it involves a lot. It has a lot of flex box. It has a lot of layout options that we need to apply to this design. And if you learn how to design this, you're pretty much going to be very, very close to designing pretty much anything in Divi 5. All right, so let's dive in and let's design this. So we are going to start off with a brand new page. As you can see here, I have a brand new page. So let's go ahead and add our first row. So since we have two items there, we're going to add a 2-column row. Okay, so with these 2 columns, inside the column, we're going to have a group because everything is going to be inside a group. Now, while we're here, if we take a look at this design, we can see that this is almost a full width. So we're going to get something very similar to that. So I'm going to come over here to my row settings, and then over here on the row, we're going to go with content width extra large. Now, you may be wondering, how am I getting all these content width extra large and all these other values that I'll be using throughout this tutorial? Now, for this design to be very smooth and fast, I use a design system, and I highly recommend that you create your own design system. There's a video I think I've done where I show you how to create your own design system. This is the way we need to be designing in Divi 5. But if you want to use my design system, it's available for sale. I'll leave the link in the video description below. All right, so let's continue on. So what I'm going to do now, since I've added my group, I'm now going to go in and add a background image. So I'm going to come over here, go to background, and then I'm going to click on this little icon here because this is what we need for our background image. Next, I'm going to say add background image. Now, I already have an image here, and I'm going to select it and click on upload image. Now, you may be wondering where I got this image from. Well, this is just an image from unsplash.com. So there's nothing, special here. If you go to Unsplash, we can use these images. All I did was search for Land Rover. Happens to be one of my favorite cars. And then this is the image that we are using because I didn't want to use Tesla per se. So now that we have this, I can now go into my group settings right here. And then I need to add a height to our design here. So I'm going to go into design and then sizing. So over here, we can see we have our height value. I'm going to go in and set this to, let's try 380 first. Okay, pixels. Okay, so I think that works. Now, as I'm looking at this, I can see over here that the gap we have here is pretty small, right? So let's fix that right away. So I want to go into my row settings here, and then go into my layout. So you can see here we have our horizontal gap, which is 5.5 and 40 pixels. So what we need to do while we are in our row, I'm going to go to elements and then design. So this is where I get to use my design system to select the size that I want. So I'm going to go with medium, and you can see the gap here has reduced. Now these sizes are in clamp, which means the gap here is going to change or adapt based on the screen size, which is what we need in design. All right, so now that we have our design here, we can see that the gap here has been updated. We may need to increase the height because mine here is not too, tall. But if you need to do that, you can always come over here, go to sizing, and we can increase. So perhaps maybe let's try 480. Okay. Right. So now we have 480. Let's work with this. The next thing we need to do now is to start adding all our elements. So the first element here is this text right here. So it needs to be on its own. And then we're also going to need all this information here on the bottom on its own. So the first thing we're going to do is to add a text module. So I'm going to search for my text module here and select it. Okay, so what does this say? It says mid-size SUV. What I'm going to do is just to copy what we have here because I can't be bothered to keep typing because my typing is not good. All right, so I'm just going to paste that mid-size SUV. Excellent. The next thing I'm going to do now is add a group after this text. And in a moment, you will see why that is important. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on this plus button, or I can just right click and then I'm going to say add element, and the element needs to be below and the element needs to be a group. So this group is going to have this text here. Oops. So I'm going to highlight it. Okay. I'm going to copy that. And that's going to go in as a heading. It qualifies as a heading. So I'm going to search for heading here. And then I'm going to go in and paste it. Next, it's going to be a text module. So I'm going to click on this plus button and add my text module like that. Okay, so let's add our text. So this one here says available from, okay, I'm going to copy that. And then back over here, we're just going to go in and paste it. All right, so we're also going to add another text module. And we're going to search for it again and paste. So now we have this longer text, which is right here. We're going to copy this as well. Okay, like that. And then back over here, I am going to paste it. Excellent. So we have quite a bit of information now. We have our group in here. So what I want to do now, because you can see we have these two buttons here, and this is where things get a bit tricky, but please pay attention because this is very, very important. If this was one button, it's easy for me to just go in and add a button below this. But because the buttons are side by side, it's a bit tricky. So what I'm going to do now is add another group inside this group. Right, I know it's going to get confusing now. So first of all, let's open up our layers so we can see where we are. So we have our first group, which is the big one, right? Which is this one, which has the text, and the other group, right? Which is this one here. So these are the two groups. So what I need to do now is to open up this group, which has the Model Y text, this text, and this text, which is 1, 2, 3. So what I'm going to do now is to right click, add element inside. And what I'm going to add inside is the group. So you're going to notice now that inside this item here is a group. So now we can go in and add our buttons. So I'm going to add my first button, and then I'm going to duplicate the button here. Now, the reason why we added a group is because we need to use Flexbox to add our buttons side by side. So before I add the button side by side, let me just have a quick glance and see what we have here. Okay, so we have order now and learn more. Okay, so we have a blue and white. So let's come over here, select this, and I'm going to come over here now to my button presets. Now, again, this is using my design system. So here I need a primary button small, like that, okay? And the primary button small needs to say order now. So we're gonna go in and say order now. Next, we're going to come over here to this button here. And this one here, I think says learn more. Yes, it says learn more. So we're gonna go in and say learn more. So as you can see, this button here is pretty big. So we're going to go in again and make it small. So I'm going to come over here to primary button, small. So here's the thing. So with this now, yes, we're using our design system, but we can also go in and customize this button. So I'm going to select it and add a white background to this. So I'm going to go to my design tab. We're going to go to button, background, and then we are going to delete this color here and set it to white. And as you can see, again, this is my design system. It has all the colors that I need. So I'm going to scroll all the way down here until I find white. So where is my white? Oh, there it is. I'm going to select that. And then what I need to do next is to change the text color. So I'm going to come over here, and over here on the button text color, I'm going to click and choose, this has to be a dark gray, so I'm going to go with gray 800. I think that should work fine. But if it's a bit too extreme, I can tone it down a little bit, maybe go with gray 600. Okay. The next thing I need to do now is to make sure that these buttons are side by side. So I'm going to select this group here, which is this one, which has the 2 buttons, and then go to layout. And then now I can set my buttons side by side. Now, as I'm looking at this, the gap between the buttons is a bit too much. Okay, as you can see here, they're quite close, and our design system again is going to come to the rescue here, because I can just go in and choose my gap, and my gap here is going to be small, just like that. Okay, so far so good. I'm just going to get rid of the layers here. So far so good. We have all the information that we need here. The next thing we're going to do now is to adjust this text and make sure that everything is looking correct. But before I do that, we need to add padding around this image here. So let's go to our main group, which is the main group that has all the designs. So with this selected, we are going to go into spacing. And again, we have our spacing scale here. I am going to choose padding extra large. In fact, I'm going to go with padding all to extra large. Let's have a look and see if this is close. Okay, I think this is, this works, but let's see if we set this to just your normal extra large. Okay, so we're going to go to padding all extra large. I think this works better. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do while we're in here, okay, is to separate our design here. So we want this to be on the top and then this group here on the bottom. So we're going to come again over here to our layout. And as you can see, our direction here is column. We are now going to separate the two by using space between. And now we have separated the top item from the bottom items. And this is where now Flexbox comes to the rescue. The next thing we're going to do now is to make sure we have the right sizes for all our fonts and also the right colors. So I'm going to start off with the very top one here. I'm going to select it and I'm just going to use this as my normal text, the base, just like that. Okay. So with that, I also need to make sure that my contrast is great because right now I have a dark background. In fact, that could be easily, that could work easily, but let's see how it looks like when I change the text color. So I'm going to set this to light. So as you can see, if I use light, that doesn't really work well because I have a light background. So what I'm going to do is to leave it as it is. So the next thing I need to do is to come over here on the Model Y. So I'm going to go in, and like I did before, I am going to go to my heading text and say light. Okay. Now, while I'm here as well, I need to set the size. So I'm going to come over here and set this to heading 3. Now, will that work? Okay, I think that's probably heading 2. Let's go back in. Let's set this to heading 2. As you can see, my sizes here are already set. Okay, I think let's go with heading 1. Right, I think heading 1 works. Okay, next I am going to select the text here, which has the pricing. And let's go in and set this text to text large. Okay, now it also needs to be the right color. So I'm going to go into my text here, set this to light. Now, do you see that this is now taking shape? The next is the paragraph text. I'm going to select it. And again, we're going to do the same thing. We are going to set this to small. Okay. Now, while we are on the small, we're also going to change the size. The color. So I'm going to go to text light. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to focus on this group right here. So this group, as you can see, the spacing here is pretty crazy. So I need to go in and adjust the spacing properly. So I am going now to choose my layout and then say gap 0. Okay. So with gap 0 now means I can go in and apply the spacing that I want in here. So let me just have a quick glance again over here on this website. So the spacing between this and the contact is fine. So I think the spacing here is all equal. So let's go ahead and fix that. So I am going to select this. Let's close this out because it's confusing us. On the spacing here, we're going to say margin top, extra small. Then select the price here. We're going to do the same. We're going to say spacing and then margin top, small. Okay. So far, so good. I'm happy with the spacing. But of course, you know, this is something that you can go in and readjust if you need to. So perhaps maybe you want to set this to extra small. You can set it to extra small, or you can say 2x small, okay, which is just a little bit of spacing, and that works too. Now we need to add a border radius. So I'm going to select this, and again, using our design system, I'm going to come over here to border, and our radius here is going to be, in fact, let's take a look first. I think that's small. Okay, so we're going to say border radius small. In fact, no, that's not small. Let's try medium. There we go. So border medium. Now, do you see how easy it is to go in and design a card which looks professional? And these are the type of cards that you want to have on the websites that you are now designing with Divi 5. As you can see, there's a lot that went into this. And for some of you that are watching me for the first time, this may be overwhelming. But I have good news for you, because I have a course that teaches you how to use Divi properly. And the course has been designed in such a way that it uses the same design workflow that I am showing you here, because Divi 5 has been built from the ground up and it has a design workflow that you need to follow. So this course is called the Divi 5 Mastery course. As you can see, it has 1,299 students, right? And this course right now has 40 lessons. In fact, just yesterday, I added a lot more lessons just to add to the Flexbox, which is what I'm showing you right now. Now, you may be asking, Mag, how much is this course? And the course is only $37. $37. And once you get this course, you don't have to pay any extra. The amount that you pay is enough. All the new lessons that I'll be adding are pretty much going to be absolutely at no extra charge. So for example, if I go into this lesson here, you know, it's a full screen. Oh, look at that. I mean, my face looks funny there. But anyway, it's a full screen. And the cool thing about this as well is when you play these videos, they remember where you left off, which is very, very important as you're designing. So learning how to design with Divi 5, this course is for you. The link to that will be the video description below. The link to the design system that I'm using, again, will be in the video description below. So at this stage now, once you've designed this, you can duplicate this, you know, and drag this over here to the right, and then change, you know, the car. Like for example, here you can see we have two different, I mean, it's the same car, oh, different cars actually. That's the Model 3. So you can add a different car in here. So for example, let's say this needs to be a Mercedes. I'm going to come over here, go to the image. Okay, delete that. Hopefully the image works. Select that, upload image. Right, now do you see that this one doesn't work? Because the car is just way too zoomed in. We need a bit more space around our image here so that our text is easy to read, and it is much easier to breathe around our design. So that's another tip if you want to design something which has an image. This one here is way zoomed in, so it won't work. But for this one here, it's working great. So let's look for another image and see if we can replace the Mercedes. So what car should we go for? Toyota, maybe. Let's see if we have any Toyotas in here. Okay, we have a few. So this image here would work. Okay, let's see if we have another. Oh, this is perfect. This one here would work really, really nice. So let's select this. Okay, this Prius. I'm going to go in and let's download the medium one. Okay, so back over here now, I'm going to go. Let's change our image. Click on this plus button. Upload files. Select. And here it is right here. Double click on that. And upload image. Look at that. Now, do you see how it is much, much better? It looks really clean. And I mean, it actually looks great. The only thing I will do here is, because over here on the top, it is a bit dark, I can go in quickly and then say, you know what? How about we change this text to text light, just like that. And now we have our beautiful cards in Divi 5. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think. And if you have any tips on how you could have done it in a different way, let me know in the comments box below. And if you have any tutorial ideas, again, let me know in the video description below. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one. Take care.